Our next guest on Smarter San Diego TV is making her first appearance here. Please welcome lending expert with Movement Mortgage, Shelly Hoiseth.
Welcome to the show. Shelly, how you doing?
Doing good, Derek.
All right, looking good as usual. Great to have you here. Tell us about Movement Mortgage.
Well, Movement Mortgage, the founder of Movement Mortgage is Casey Crawford. He teamed up with Toby Harris, who was a longtime, well-respected realtor in his area, and they built the whole company around being realtor-centric.
Okay.
So the whole business model is designed around speed of closing and being there for the realtors and their clients.
Also, there's a lot of common sense, because I've heard him speak, by the way, the CEO. He was on Fox not too long ago, and there's some common sense to it that doesn't exist in lending, which is it's been just mind-boggling to me for years. Like certain liabilities that don't go on the 1003, I don't understand that. But like, can you really afford? One of the things, the chicken and the egg. This happens in real estate, Beck. You probably hear this talk at your kitchen table. What do you do first? Do you go look for a home, or do you get pre-approved or pre-underwritten for a loan? What is your guys' philosophy there?
Well, we definitely believe that if you are planning to buy a home anytime within the next 6 months or a year, that you should get pre-approved first.
Okay.
There's nothing worse than going out there and finding the perfect house and you get really excited and then you start calling a lender and saying, can I buy this? And it's very disappointing when either you can't get approved or it doesn't fit in your budget, which is the most important thing. Movement Mortgage is really big on responsible lending, not just what's the biggest loan we can cram into every client.
Right.
I personally really want people to be in a home that they feel comfortable in, with a payment they can afford, so that they can enjoy SoCal living without everything going towards their house payment.
Yeah, it's so crazy because you make a great point. So many times people have said this to me, that they thought they'd qualify for a loan, but they went and they found that they couldn't after they'd found a house. And I tell them that's the best thing that could have happened to you. Because the worst thing that could have happened to you is that you did get the loan and it was way too much for you. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So it's like there's that fine line there where if you fit in, it's like, well, we qualify for the loan, but we can't afford it, but we've already fallen in love with the house. That's like the worst case scenario.
Right.
Because now you're sort of forced into buying a house that is too much for you.
Right.
And this happens all the time.
It does happen all the time, and that's one of the reasons why Movement Mortgage, one thing that we do with every file is we fully underwrite our files even before you find a house. So finding a lender that will invest in that kind of time ahead of time for you is really important.
I have a question for you about that real quick, because you said invest that kind of time into it. So is that the reason that not every bank does it? Is because they have to sort of pay it forward, they have to spend money on human capital to do that work before there's any revenue attached to it?
Right. I mean, if you think about it, we're essentially underwriting every file twice. So if someone comes to me for a pre-approval and they choose to send full documentation, then I submit the file to underwriting just like I would if they already had a house picked out. So we go through the full process, we condition the file, which means the underwriter requests the last few items that they need for final approval, and then the client knows exactly what's needed, exactly what they need to do in order to close their loan. So when they go out looking, they can go to their realtor and not just have a pre-qual, but they can take their offers with a loan commitment letter.
Yes.
And that goes a long ways. And this market is still competitive.
Right. Yeah, it's been a seller's market, it seems like forever, hasn't it? Just
Yeah.
crazy out there for buyers. A lot of people banging their heads against the wall trying to find a house. It's tough. You got to have your ducks in a row. And so having that pre-underwritten situation ahead of going and looking at homes, I could see where that'd be very beneficial, advantageous actually in a negotiation process when you're battling with 5, 6, 10 other people to get that perfect house.
Honestly, I think it's the most important thing in getting a home, is if you are not fully ready in a purchase situation with everything in hand, where you can essentially say, I'm ready to close in 20 days or less, you can compete with cash buyers that way when you have your loan approval in hand.
Another thing that I've seen and heard from your CEO, know before you owe. What is that all about? That's kind of one of the movements in Movement Mortgage.
So what I've been seeing lately is about 3 different types of home buyers. You've got your millennials and your first-time home buyers. Those people are a little bit trepidatious maybe about getting into the market. They're a little nervous because their parents might have lost their home or foreclosed or short sale, in the downturn. And then you've got people re-entering the market who did foreclose or have a short sale a few years back. And you've got people that are now in a move-up situation where they own their home and they survived the meltdown, but now they've got some equity, and so they're ready to sell their house and buy another one. So these three people are asking, am I approved? The first-time home buyers want to know, what can I afford? What do I do? What is the process? So really spending time and educating them on the process from the beginning is key. The re-entries want to know, is it too late for me? Can I buy a home now? What happens now that I've had a bankruptcy or foreclosure? And there are a lot of programs out there for that type of situation. So really sitting down and personalizing it is key.
Right.
Another thing, in fact, I just had a client the other day. She says, is it really possible to sell my house and buy another one before the end of the year? This was like December 1st. I said, yes, absolutely. So, and she's in contract sale of her home, and we are going to close her loan by the end of the year. We're going to close both of her transactions by the end of the year.
Wow, that is extremely impressive. And I know that's a big thing with Movement Mortgages, that you guys work quickly.
Absolutely.
Get the deals done fast.
Right. And while she was preparing to list her home, we were already underwriting her file.
Right.
So she already knew what conditions she needed for her loan closing, so she could focus on listing her home, showing her home, which is enough stress on a seller. They don't need to be also worrying about, can I get a loan on the next property?
Right.
So knowing that part was taken care of was huge for her, and she's able to relax, and she still is absolutely shocked that her home is now in escrow and she's just waiting to close. That's it.
I'm shocked too. I gotta be honest with you.
Present.
That's crazy timeline. I mean, it's like you guys are doing so good with that. You might actually spoil some people out there. It's like, that's crazy because this is holidays and all that stuff factored in, and you're gonna get it done. Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a big deal. Thank you so much for being here today, Shelly Hoiseth with Movement Mortgage. Not
Thank
just
you,
a pretty
Derek.
face, but a great loan officer here in San Diego, and part of the Movement Mortgage family, which we have a lot of in this room today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, and stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else commercial free.